What's going on, y'all? So this is some study guide support for the test we're taking on Monday and Tuesday of next week. We're going to cover these definitions here. What I want to do is just kind of go through the study guide to kind of help you think about how you should be thinking when you're going through a text to analyze exposition, climax, and rise in action, which will be the bulk of your test. And then we're going to move from there. Okay? So you got this today. We went through a World Cafe, and what we read today was The Human's Box by Mike McCrae. The first step as we went through this was for you to read the exposition right here and to determine the key information we need from exposition, which is who is our main character and what is the goal? What does the character want to do by the end of the story? Now, when you're going through this and you see a few things already annotated on here, I want to talk about in a moment, there's a few things you want to think about. First off, title is important. Title is going to tell you who you may need to focus on. Sometimes it doesn't. That's okay. We're going to move down to part two with that. But if you definitely see a title that also comes up in the exposition, more than likely whoever's mentioned in the title is your main character. So then that's going to help take out one thing, because then all you need to know is figuring out, well, what does this character want? Another way of thinking about it, if you don't have a title that's clear, start to just analyze or pick out all the characters in the exposition. So in this case, I know we're talking about humans and calore, and I would just take them both out. And so then I can just see all my characters who are mentioned. And then from that point, I would then think about part three, which is who has the bigger problem? So what is the problem for calore? What is the problem for the humans? And between the two of them, which one seems to have a problem that is worth telling a story for? But also, which one has a problem that isn't already mentioned or achieved or handled in the exposition? So, for example, today, a lot of people went with calore. And I think because calore was mentioned so much in the exposition, you automatically thought, oh, she has to be the main character because they're talking about her being this goddess, having all this hair. There's so much stuff about her. But that isn't always the case, because then a lot of people said, well, her problem or what she wants to do right into the story is not share her color. But that's already said in the exposition, so we know she's not sharing her color. So not only does it sound redundant because you're repeating exactly what we already know, but there's no point of even having a story, because now the story's done. She didn't share her color, the end. We know that. Some people also try to say, well, maybe her goal is to share her color, but nothing in the exposition says that calore wants to share the color and somebody's keeping her from it, or something is keeping her from doing that. It was very clear that she has this color and she's selfish. So calore gets knocked out. Then you're left with humans. Well, what do the humans want? Well, they live on Earth, and Earth right now is gray, so they want color. They don't have it right now. And so I can definitely see an entire story making sense about people wanting something they don't have, i.e. they want color. And so when you're filling out the bottom of this, that's what this would look like. So who is your character? Your humans. Their goals, that they want color in their country. Two reasons from the exposition that helped me understand that. Well, one was that it told me that the planet was gray, that the country was on, and that it was just, again, shades of gray on Earth. And so I have these two to support me, and then I would just write that up in one summary. In the exposition, the humans want color in their country because it is shades of gray. Simple, straightforward. So then we move to the climax. And in the climax, you want to check. Remember, climax is the moment in the story, the peak of the story, where the main character experiences a change with the goal. And the change can be an action, the change can be a thought, or the change can be something about their life. And if we're saying life change, we're saying either the entire goal changed, or we're saying that something happened to the character that was major and different from the exposition. Maybe they died, maybe they got married, maybe they had children, maybe they end up getting something that they didn't have before. Something big that impacts that person's life happens. So that's when there's a life change. In this case, you want to bring in your goal, so you know the humans want color. But I added this piece too, because I didn't have it on here, but you may want to just kind of like brainstorm and just ask yourself, well, what happened in the climax when it comes to the goal? And I know in the climax, the humans get color, but they also get poison. And we just put this here so you kind of see where we're getting that from. So we know that they get their color, but they also get poison. And so you can already in your mind say, well, what happened? What was the change? Well, the change was now they got color, when in the beginning they didn't have color. Then you want to ask yourself, was this a life, action, or thought change? Meaning, is something about what the humans did from the beginning to the climax change about them getting color? Something about how they thought changed about them getting color? Or did something in their life actually change? This is a very easy moment because if you go back to your exposition, nothing in your summary says an action, or nothing in your summary says thought. Or in other words, nothing here says they did something about them not having color, or that they thought something about them not having color, or that they did something about them wanting color, or they thought something about them wanting color. But you do know that their life has been impacted. It does say they live somewhere where there is no color. So their lives are just filled with grays. And that's all you know. And so if it's a life here, more than likely, it's probably going to be a life here. So I will put a life change here. And then what in our climax supports that there was a life change? Supports, in this case now you can just think that they got their color and that there were poison involved. So one thing to show there was a change is that it says that the humans woke to find terror filled with color. I'll put that here. Now, the second, if I want to think about the poison, is that the humans were also drugged with gas and started to fight. I can do this. Or if I want to just stick to the get color and not even bring up the poison, because it can be an optional. I want to just think about the color itself, which it could be. This could be optional. I could also just go right into the fact that hair fell on everything and filled the land with beauty. Just put that there. So those are my two moments. And then the summary would then be in the climax, the humans, again, start with your main character, the humans, and then go right into the change, stick to what climax is about. The humans get color. We'll start there, get color. They wake up. To Tierra filled with color, changing their gray lives. Or I would say changing their dull lives. But you want to make sure you also get in the change. So we have a change there. We have goal here. And then we have some evidence here. So you got all three things. This could easily be in the climax of humans' lives change when they get color, when they wake up to see color in Tierra. Same thing, and this is just a little bit more extra in here I don't really need, but that was a more clearer way of saying it too. So that is our climax. Done. So the last is now we go to rise in action. And what we want to do with the rise in action is now go to the moments that led up to that climax, the things that caused that climax to happen. So the first thing we want to do is actually put the goal change, which is the humans get color. All right. And then we think about, well, what were two moments? Why did they even get the color? How did they get the color? And so when you read through this, and I'll just put this here, I'm not going to hold it too long, but there you go. Let that all go. Two moments that pretty much stood out in here, and that we know it was the kids. It was Calore's kids who end up helping the humans. And so at one point, we can put down the evidence here where all three felt they had to do something to get rid of the grayness. So one event is Calore's children felt like they had to help get rid of the grayness. Okay. The second moment could be that where it says that the children end up putting the hair. Actually, we can even go from there and just say the children actually shaved off the mother's hair for the people. So they carefully shaved the mother's head. I can even talk about the children plan to wring the color hair out into types. I'm sorry. I could talk about that they put the hair, where is it? They wanted to hide the hair where the humans could get it. So there's a few things. I'll go with that one. Kids hid the hair where the humans could find it. All right. And then a summary. And this is from your notes. This is the one event in the rise in action that led to Tierra getting color is when the children felt they had to help get rid of the grayness. If they didn't think about helping, then the country would still be gray. You can't really see that last part. So there we are. And that again that comes from our notes. So given the summary, then doing the if-then statement to kind of like break that down. So if they didn't think about helping at all, then the country would still be gray. So that's how I know that is the reason why. All right, so that's your rise in action. And then lastly, you would just then put all those summaries here. And actually, these won't be summaries. These will be your actual evidence moments. So, all right, this will be evidence or event 1, event 2. So the things that you would put here. These two will be what goes on your plot diagram. And then everything else will actually be the summaries. So this is your summary. And this is your summary. And then the X's just to kind of like know where they go. I know my exposition goes there because it's first, kind of lays the foundation. Then I kind of start rising up with my rise in action. And I hit my peak with my climax. And then that's pretty much it. And so when you're thinking to over the weekend about how to really think about text, really think about that. Know that your goal is something that should be the point of the story, the reason for the story, even being told, and it has to be a problem for someone. So it should definitely be something that's a problem in the beginning that needs to be fixed, or that wants to be fixed by the end. So I do hope that this kind of helps you with your thinking. In addition to this, it will be open notes, so you will be able to have this out while you're taking the test. Make sure that you also look over and have your writing notes, because you will need um, correlative, your correlative conjunctions for some of you, as well as your transitional conjunction adverbs. And maybe just need that one other than the correlative conjunctions. So that is pretty much it. Good luck.